Well, good morning. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and I'm an old man now, but I've been doing orthodontics for over 60 years, and I've learned a lot about it, and I've been trying to teach it to everybody anywhere in the world, because I think people ought to know about it and can do things that will help keep them from having orthodontic problems. And if they do have them, things they can do to get it fixed. So I've tried to get to schools to teach every dentist things about orthodontics, and the general public can learn about it too. But they are not too interested in that. So I said that with God's help, I would do it myself, or try to teach it to anybody anywhere in the world. And so this is the introductory thing to what, and so I'm calling this Straight Wise Orthodontics. And what the straight means, we're going straight to the problems that interfere with the development of the person's facial structure and what goes wrong with what it is. And then the wise part is thinking about it. And this is like AI, and AI is developing something they're trying to get computers where they can think. I don't know that they can do that. But the wise part is long-term thinking of anything that might be interfering with the proper development of the child's facial structure. And we'll start at the very beginning and work through this thing. And one of the big problems with orthodontics in areas like the United States and other parts of the world now is the mixing of people, different sizes of people, their facial structure. There are certain people that have broad faces and they have larger teeth, and people who have narrow faces and they have more narrow space to put the teeth, and their teeth fit them. Now, I've worked for several years as a missionary in Africa. I went into places. Went to school one time with a whole group of young men that helped me in the office, and we cleaned all these kids' teeth, and I straightened all the teeth in that whole school, and I found only one child that had a supernumerary tooth there, and I took that out. The rest of them had straight teeth. How could that possibly happen? In this country, you go to schools and half of the people in there need some kind of help orthodontically as far as developing their teeth straight and everything. And here, this whole class, and there was nobody, the whole school of young people there, and I found nobody that needed any orthodontics. Why and how did this happen? And the way I came to a conclusion is that these Nigerian children nursed till they were about 2.5 years old, and that was the only protein that their body got. If they didn't get to nurse, they had thing they call kwashiorkor. If the mother had one child and raised it up about a year or so, and then they had another child real quick, the baby got the milk and the older child didn't get it. And I've got pictures of kids with their stomachs look as big as a watermelon, and they died of what they call kwashiorkor, or the young one kills the old one. And so the mothers they stay not away from their husbands. They do not get pregnant until they've got the child at least about 2.5 years old, and then they can have another child. And it doesn't get that. And the other older child can find protein to live. And this was happening in Nigeria. And this is hard to come up with to people here in this country. I've looked for people all over during my life that had perfect teeth and had no orthodontics done and still had perfect teeth. And all the time, my wife was like that. She grew up out in the Cosache National Forest, and she nursed till she was about 2.5 years old. And she developed a proper airway, proper facial structure. You cannot breathe through your mouth while you're nursing. And so she had nursed that long, and we found out that these African kids that nursed till they're about 2.5 or 3 years old, they had developed their airways properly, and so they breathe through their nose, not through their mouth. Breathing through the mouth has a lot of problems, and we are going to show those up during teaching these courses. Now, I retired doing orthodontics at 88, and from 88 till now, I have put on videos. We've got nearly 1,000 videos. There's 970 something videos covering every aspect of orthodontics that I can think of except cephalometric stuff. I don't pay too much attention to that. I use it and trace them off and everything else, but we use the Panorex a lot in the correction the cases, but I took cephalometrics to give me an airway and tonsils and stuff like that thing. So we've got this we're calling Introduction to Orthodontics. It is straight, wise orthodontics. The wise, straight is just going to the different causes that cause it. The wise things is thinking out how you're going to deal with the problems that people have. And that's what the wise part is doing. And that's what our AI stuff now, we're going to try to get into the long-term thinking. It's going to be figuring out what to do. So I've figured out most of the answers to orthodontic problems, and we show those in these 900 and something videos, but it's hard for people to go through all of that. So now we're going to go through and try to analyze each thing that might be wrong, and you can punch it in there, and it'll pull up those videos that will explain how we corrected those things in orthodontics. So this is just a beginning. I wanted to go over this before I start doing this, and we're going to come back and try to show you how to get to all of this information wherever you are, anywhere in the world. So thank you for watching, and I'm going to sign off here on this, and this will be the beginning of how you can come back and find things, that anything that I could think of to develop that was causing orthodontic problems in here. And of course, one of the main ones is just if a person who has a large body facial structure and then they marry somebody else, and the person over here has the small skeletal structure and inherits the teeth from that person that's got the big ones, they just don't fit. And so you have to lose some teeth to bring it down to where it fits. And it's ridiculous to think that everybody There's types of orthodontics. They thought everybody who got 32 teeth ought to have room for them, and that is not room in a place like the United States or any country. That is mixed up, and the world is getting more and more mixed up now as we go along, and so we're going to have orthodontic problems that arise from that problem, and then there are allergies and problems that develop with facial structure that is hard to get around, and what people have habits that cause problems too. So thank you for watching, and stick with us. We're going to try to go through ways of finding out the problem that you may have with your children or you may have, and you can find videos that'll show you what can be done about that. And I'm going to hang up now and say goodbye. I hope you'll stay with our organization. We have channels and video coming here on everything you can think about in orthodontics. So I'll say goodbye for here.